Hello, and welcome to another video. My name is Joseph Rettinger, and in this video, I want to talk to you about the technology known as cloud computing. In this video, I want to offer you a basic introduction into what cloud computing is, since the term is becoming more popular, and also, I want to talk about the importance cloud computing will have going forward. So here, I just wanted to present to you a very simplified illustration of what the cloud is, just to begin the presentation, so that you can begin to visualize the concept that I'm going to discuss in further detail. The cloud can be explained as a new way of storing data that is different from the PC that has been traditionally used. So instead of data being saved to a single device, as with the PC, using the cloud, the data is sent to a mainframe that exists on the internet and can be accessed by any device. So a question a lot of people have is, what are the benefits of the cloud that would make it worthwhile to switch over from a PC? Well, one of the major benefits of the cloud is that it's much more cost-effective than the traditional PC because it's cheaper to keep information on the internet as opposed to physical data sites. Another benefit is that it's easier to maintain because the service provider, whoever it may be, can update everything from their location. So instead of having multiple computers download a new version of something, using the cloud, it allows for the change to be made to all users at once. Another benefit is that the cloud allows for centralization of important data. So instead of bits and pieces of data being saved on individual computers, the cloud allows for easy access for multiple people to view and interact with data that they need. So here's another visual aid to help you develop a sense of cloud computing. As you can see, user devices like phones, laptops, tablets, they all exist outside of the cloud, but they're all able to access the same information, which is not something possible on PCs. So there are multiple different forms of the cloud that I want to talk about, and they are private clouds, public clouds, and the hybrid cloud. So to begin, the private cloud is usually operated by a single organization. Now, it's different than a regular cloud because it requires a physical site to be set up. And doing this requires heavy capital, and it somewhat defeats the purpose of the cloud, which is to move away from physical places. But a benefit of it is that it allows for companies to have more control over their data and who can access it. The public cloud, on the other hand, is when a network is open to anybody. So usually public clouds are free to use, but the trade-off is that these clouds are less secure than their private counterparts. Here's a chart comparing the differences between public and private clouds. So as you can see, as I discussed earlier, public clouds are set up to support multiple customers, where private clouds are set up for one customer. Also, public clouds are suited for less confidential information, where private cloud is for higher profile, more confidential information. Finally, the hybrid cloud is when there are two or more separate clouds that are tied together, that working together offer the benefits that can't be matched by one of the models alone. Hybrid clouds utilize what is known as cloud bursting, which is basically when an application runs in a private cloud or data center and then, quote, bursts to a public cloud when the demand for computing capacity increases. So one of the benefits of doing this is that companies then only have to pay for extra computing resources when needed and not all the time. So cloud architecture is basically that within the cloud, there are multiple components that need to communicate in order for it to work well. The communication is done through loose coupling mechanisms, and they incorporate the elastic provision, which is what I talked about earlier, which is how a cloud service provider has the ability to be flexible with their computing power when and whenever required. So there are many major cloud-based services, such as Google, which is one of the first, and also Apple and Amazon, to name a few of the big ones. But also, there are other offerings, such as the networking site LinkedIn and SoundCloud, that have also come about because of cloud computing. So, an important idea behind cloud computing is if it is profitable. Well, in the last few years, the market has grown exponentially, and it currently generates more than $100 billion annually. The most profitable company that is solely cloud computing is known as Salesforce, and it has a market cap of $44 billion. It's estimated that by 2020, $200 billion will be generated annually by cloud computing. So as I said, profitability of cloud computing is exploding. Creating revenue from applications is clearly going to be the most profitable, but also including revenue generated by platforms and business services is how many experts estimate that the cloud could generate the aforementioned 200 billion annually as soon as 2020. So since the cloud is still a relatively young concept, there isn't much hardware associated with it yet. But so far, the major player is Google. Google's Chromebook is completely powered by the cloud and offers a much cheaper and also longer lasting alternative to traditional PCs. Another Google project is known as Chrome Bits, and it's about to revolutionize the way information is accessed. So using it, it can be plugged into any LCD display or TV and turn that into a computer with full functionality.